What is up, guys? Welcome back to Cozy Talks. This week's episode is going to be our recap on Kevin Vallejos versus Josh Emmett fight night. We're going to go over the full card, talk about what happened, what went right for us, what went wrong for us on our picks, and yeah, we'll just move from there. Updated our records, so our records are up to date past this card, so we're ready for UFC London. With that being said, though, Z, how you feeling about the card? How'd you feel about it?
Mm, yeah, I didn't do too good, honestly. I'm just
Yep.
gonna be honest. You live some, or you win some, and you lose some. It is what it is, but that's not gonna stray us away from staying here and giving you guys our opinions and our breakdowns and our predictions, and still giving our bets and our parlays on this next event. So before we get into it though, go ahead and drop a like, leave a comment, let us know what you think. If you have anything to say, if you want to roast us, feel free to. I
Yeah.
mean, I got some funny shit that I'm going to bring up later into this card. But anyways, let's get into it with the first fight that happened in the event, which was Piera Rodriguez versus Sam Hughes. I was on the side of Sam Hughes in this fight, and
Yeah.
Sam Hughes didn't really look like she was all there in that fight. Um, Pierre Rodriguez was also just the one who was more on the front foot. It looked like Sam Hughes was on her back foot the entire fight.
Mm.
Pierre Rodriguez was catching her up against the cage, winning the grappling match, and yeah, Pierre Rodriguez just looked like the more dominant fighter in there. It didn't really look like Sam Hughes could get anything going
Mm.
in this fight. So Pierre Rodriguez ended up just flat out 30-27 the entire fight.
Yeah, yeah, Sam Hughes just respected the power a lot more than I thought she was gonna. She was really worried about what was coming back at her whenever she was throwing. She was really worried about the counters. And yeah, I mean, the punches definitely stung more on the side of Pierre. You could see it every time she landed on Sam. Sam was definitely the one that was taking more of the damage. And yeah, I mean, wasn't her best night. Obviously, it's really hard for us to fade a Washington local. And
Yeah.
she was an underdog. It's an underdog shot, but I thought it was the right read. It's a rematch. Things change in rematches, and Sam Hughes looked like she was on the better track, but it is what it is. Anyway, moving on to our next fight of the night, we had Luan Lacerda and Hector Sosa. Um, this was a pretty all right fight. We were on the side of Hector Sosa. I was kind of hoping Hector Sosa would get it done inside the distance. Luan Lacerda's path to victory, I felt like was going to be in the grappling department. I thought it was going to be, if he gets to the ground, maybe get a submission locked up. Hector Sosa, I thought had the clear advantage on the feet, and the striking is kind of tells us that. He had some really slick boxing, but it just wasn't enough to really put Lacerda out. It was enough to get the win on the scorecards, however. Um, so yeah, I mean, it was a pretty back and forth for a little bit, but then yeah, he really just jumped out on the scorecards, and I kind of just coasted to a victory here. Wasn't really much to say on it, but yeah, it was an impressive win nonetheless.
Yeah, Hector Sosa went out there and gave straight belt to ass. I was watching this fight on my way back home from the casino, and Hector Sosa was just mollywhopping Lacerda pretty much.
Mhm.
I think at one point in the fight, I heard the commentators get a little excited, so it sounded like Hector Sosa almost finished Lucerda. He didn't get
He got
it,
close.
yeah, he got close to it, but yeah, I ended up getting it done on the scorecards. My pick here was Hector Sosa, but moving into the next fight, Bia
Mm,
Mesquita versus
dude.
Monse Rendon, and yeah, holy shit. I had to go back and rewatch this a couple of times because Bia just straight
Yeah.
smoked her, rocked the shit out of her, got her down to the ground, and Bia just fucking dominated. She got in top mount and fucking just bitch her. I thought she was gonna knock her out for a second. I thought she was gonna
Yeah.
knock her out, but then she locked up that rear naked and she got it done.
Yeah, yeah, it's really scary seeing Beta kinda grow into a bit of a striker now. I mean, she rocked Montse Rendon, and, which doesn't say much. It's Montse Rendon. She's kind of she's younger in career, but she's old in age. But, it's an impressive win nonetheless. Bia, we're seeing kinda grow from this, lady goat BJJ girl into now a fucking well-rounded MMA girl. And
Yeah.
I think she's starting to kind of look like a problem for this bantamweight division. Once she gets, more experience, more cage time, and her striking gets more fluid, I really think she's going to be a problem for the bantamweight division. No girl is going to be able to hang with her on the ground the way that just I just don't see it happening. If you're not going to outstrike her and really hurt her, I think you're in for a world of trouble.
Yeah.
Especially in these early rankings. But yeah, it was an impressive win. It was fast. It was a fast win.
Yeah, round
Um,
1.
yeah. But yeah, moving on to our next fight. We had the Unks going at it. And Z, to build off your theme of you pick some wrong and you win some. In our case, it was you flip some and then you flip wrong. Because
Yeah.
on the Friday episode, going into Friday, I was on Eric Anders and hearing, and being reminded about Brad Tavares' record. I was like, yeah, Brad Tavares can do it totally. And then we watched Saturday, and it was just really just was a clinic in the retirement fight of Eric Anders. It's pretty infuriating to watch. Being on the side of Brad, him almost getting starched in the first, and then second, he ends up hurting Eric, and then goes to the grappling and ends up in a clinch with Eric Anders instead of just keeping the range and pounding off strikes. Pretty annoying because then Eric Anders just took advantage of his wrestling abilities and just held control time. I mean, look at that,
Yeah.
nine minutes 20 seconds of control time. That's a lot. I expected better out of Brad, and we did not get the Brad that I was thinking we were going to get that night. So good win for Eric Anders. Good way to end your career. Fighting a guy that's been in the UFC as long as you, a guy you've never crossed paths with. Uh, yeah. I mean, what do you got to say about it, Z?
I mean, I can say you pretty much hit it right on the nail. So let's move on to the next fight, which was Balaji
Hmm.
Oki and Manuel Sosa. My pick here
Yeah.
was Manuel Sosa. Overall, though, this was a sweat because I just had this fight ending by knockout, and it did not happen until like 50 seconds left in the third round. Both
Yeah.
these guys, though, they were both going at it. It's just I don't the IQ of both these guys. I mean, Sosa, it's just like he gets into the third round and then he just like locks in.
Yeah. Well, he was
But
like he was like revived. It was like he looked gassed
yeah,
in the first and second, and then third comes around. It's like he's just like
yeah,
a whole new fighter.
yeah, which is pretty crazy to me. Balaji Oki, he looked very scary coming out into the octagon. He
Hmm.
came out with some like some crazy like tribal African music, and he had this mean mug on him. He just walking down the cameraman as he walked into the octagon. But he ended up getting his fucking hand grabbed. And if you like take that frame of Manuel Sosa grabbing Bellagioki's hand, and he has his fucking right hand right here, and
Watching the nuke.
Bellagioki is just staring right at him, just curious on what type of strike Sosa's about to throw at him. Like, oh, I wonder what is about to come my way. And
Yeah.
Sosa sent it straight down the fucking middle, just a nuke on Bellagioki's chin and just straight folded him backwards and put him to sleep.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, it reminded me of like Carlos Prates launching that knee on Charles Araki. It's like he's just like,
yeah.
it's coming, buddy. You're about to just eat
Just set it
this.
up. Mhm.
Yeah, it was impressive. And I was on the side of Belagioki, and he fought his tail off. It was just like you said, low IQ fight, man. Both these guys just don't really impress me. I think when these guys kind of have their backs against the wall, it's a little bit different. Sosa, I mean, like you said, third round, kind of just looked like the Duracell bunny comes out, and he's just a new fighter. Um, I think whoever he fights next is probably gonna give him problems. I think they need to really set him up with a challenge because I don't think Belagioki is that challenge. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, moving on. Elijah Smith, Su Young Yu. Oh boy, this was a fun fight. This was when I really locked into the card because Elijah Smith is one of those prospects. He's probably in the top, definitely in the top five of prospects that I think is going to make a pretty good run, especially in the bantamweight division, the loaded division. And I mean, this was his first real test with Soo Young Yu. You know, the Korean Khabib is what he's been called, and he handled that with ease. I mean, he got taken down 4 times, but he bounced right up every time. And that's what
Yeah.
I was worried about. I'm like, is he gonna get stuck on his back, and is he just gonna be, you know, getting the wet blanket treatment? And no. And you know, second round rolls around and he slips an uppercut, knocks Su Young Yu on his ass, and then goes to the ground and then just, you know, doesn't give him a chance to defend himself and gets him out of there, gets the sub. I was really upset about that because we were talking about Elijah Smith KO. I had no idea a sub would even be in a realm of possibility. I was like, it's either KO or decision, you know, in my head at least. But you know, he does enough damage, gets Su Young Yu to give up his back, and he takes it and locks up a rear naked, and that's all she wrote for that.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, that should have been in our realm of thought. You know,
Hmm.
looking into this fight was just Elijah Smith inside the distance.
Yeah,
Because I mean, regardless, this fight would have found its way on the ground for a long period of time. Um, just we have this dude named the Korean Khabib over here, but I mean,
yeah,
for Elijah Smith to pull that out and to do that to you, Soo Young Yu, that's very impressive. So
yeah.
props to Elijah Smith in this fight. Moving on to the next one though, I don't even really want to. I mean, this was a good fight. Don't get me wrong, this was a very good fight. But we have Vitor Petrino and Steven Asplin. Uh, this fight would have gone our way if Asplin didn't want to fuck around in the middle of the octagon and turn his ass to Vitor Petrino and troll him. Because I mean, if Asplin gone on the gas pedal there when he had rocked Petrino bad, and and that's another thing too, is that it's crazy that it only says one knockdown because there were multiple times where an Asplin connected to Petrino, you could visually see Petrino wobbled and rocked, and he
Yeah.
started fucking throwing those crazy haymakers to get out of it. That's the thing that pisses me off is because Petrino, yes, he won this fight. Is it an impressive win? Fuck no. I fucking hate Petrino and he's
Hmm.
absolutely dog shit. The only reason why he won this fight is because Steven Asplin is a very big dude and he's very heavy, he's very slow. And towards the end of this fight, towards the later rounds, Petrino was obviously the fighter who's more bouncy on their feet, you know, moving around. Asplin's kind of just waiting to launch a couple.
Yeah. He's
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't an impressive win at all for Petrino. He almost got fucking finished. He almost got put out by Steven Asplin, who literally shakes his titties at you at the beginning of the fight. Um, I'm more impressed with Steven Asplin, the fact that he could take such a solid fucking beating.
hmm.
Uh,
He got a good
I
chin.
He has a great chin, and I think that Steven Asplin, um, hopefully he gets some better training, and he could really get some like head movement, his feet movement going. Because I think Steven Asplin could be a really big problem in this division still. And as you can clearly see, Steven Asplin lost, and I'm talking more about Steven Asplin than I am the winner of this fight
Mhm.
because Vitor Petrino, I fucking hate you. Anyways, that's all I have to say about this fight. Vitor
Yeah,
Petrino is just such a bum, bro. He's just such a can, dude.
yeah, I don't really have much to add. I think, yeah, you know, going into this fight, you know, there was the talk about Petrino having the broken hand. There was no signs of a broken hand in this fight. I mean, the dude was launching bombs with both hands. He looked like, you know, there's no such thing as an injury. Um, yeah, I mean, he was ranked, and then he lost his rank to Tuivasa for whatever fucking reason. He was number 15. Now I'm sure Petrino will be back in the 15. I
Hey, you know
hope.
what? You know what? I'm not mad about that anymore. I'm not mad about Tai Tuivasa getting back into the rankings if it meant that Vitor Petrino was knocked out of the rankings. I'm not mad. I'm not mad
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see what comes with it. I mean, Petrino is going to get a top 15 shot. I mean, it doesn't take much in the heavyweight division to end up with a shot. So yeah, moving on. to our featured prelim, Chris Curtis and Mr. Rollby. Chris Curtis got what we call the wet blanket treatment. And I mean, it speaks for itself. You read the takedowns, read the control time. It's a 15-minute fight. This thing was only standing for half of one round. It kind of tells you everything you need to know about it. There's not really much of a recap I want to give on this, other than just saying that Mr. Rollby set the new record at the welterweight division for takedowns in a 3-round fight.
Yep.
So, I mean,
Dominant performance by Earl
yeah,
by all means.
just wasn't the performance I was expecting. I was expecting a finish, but then again, you had two guys that were kind of at different realms. You had a guy who was up here in the middleweight, and a guy who was down here in lightweight, and they met in the middle at the welterweight. And so it was just, he's watching this fight, you wouldn't even like think that Mitsubik was a lightweight at one point. I mean, he looked bigger than Chris Curtis size wise, but
Strong too,
he
so
is
strong,
strong. Yeah,
very
seeing what he
strong.
did, Chris Curtis really tells us a lot about his skill set. I mean, I'm impressed. We saw Earlby go to war, with what was his name? Rebevix? It wasn't
Yeah,
Rebevix. Rebecki.
Rebecki.
Yeah, Matash Rebeshki. And yeah, I mean, seeing that now he's a well-rounded grappler, something that we may have not already known, and seeing it happening as a guy like Chris Curtis is pretty impressive. I mean, yeah, I think Mitch McGroby is definitely going to be a guy to keep an eye on in 26 for this welterweight division.
Yeah,
Um, Chris Curtis, what happens next? I don't know. I mean, I think he's probably going to think about retirement. I think he did have a post about this, and he's saying he's going to sit on and think about what's going to be next. So we'll keep an eye on that. Whenever his next update is. But let's move into our main card opener. Charles Johnson, Bruno Silva. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I
People were
mean,
mixed about this. Yeah, Z, I'll let you take this because
I
yeah,
as you can see right here in this in the numbers, it was a very close fight. It was a very close fight, but Charles Johnson edged it out. I mean, watching it live, it looked very close. In my opinion, it looked like Bruno Silva was obviously the faster striker in there,
yeah,
but that's crazy. I didn't think that Charles Johnson outstruck him. I thought because even the commentators were talking about it, like Charles Johnson needed to pick it up a little bit. He was losing the exchanges in the pocket, but I guess come third round, Bruno Silva just started to gas out from that, and Charles Johnson took advantage from it and really kept that distance and pieced him up from a distance. And I feel like that's what won him this fight was that third round was
mhm,
just him overcoming a tired Bruno Silva. Because I mean
yeah,
Bruno Silva was on his gas pedal the entire fight until that third round.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't see any world where a 30-27 Charles Johnson exists. That's just not true in my eyes. I think the 29-28s were very valid, but the 30-27 I don't think is true whatsoever. I think round 2 definitely belonged to Bruno Silva. He rocked Charles Johnson and probably could have finished Charles Johnson. He did have him on weak legs, had him backed up against the cage, but just couldn't get it done. But I think 1 and 3 were really well, 1 was definitely really close, but Charles Johnson did outstrike him numbers wise. And then round 3, like you said, Bruno Silva just faded away, and Charles Johnson was just landing the more damaging blows. I mean, he was landing a lot of
Yeah.
elbows, getting a lot of strikes from range. So, yeah, I think 1 and 3 were definitely Charles Johnson, but no way is it a 30-27. Um, it's impressive for Charles Johnson to finally get over that hump of not being able to beat a vet. So I mean that's what was our big worry, going into this fight was, it's not a prospect. The guy who we saw just
Yeah.
maul a prospect in Vancouver. Uh, what's next for Charles Johnson? I don't know. He called out Asu. He called out a couple other flyweights. I think Asu would be a really in my eyes would be a mismatch for Charles Johnson. I think Asu would probably
He
ragdoll
called
him.
out he called out Horiguchi too. Horiguchi would ragdoll him as well.
Yeah. Like Charles Johnson's is a big flyweight, but he's not as skilled as these top 10 flyweights. Like, yeah, these flyweights are small, but these guys are like little sticks of dynamite, dude. Like they're gonna fucking make you pay. You know, you got knocked out by Alex Perez. Yeah, you were on the
Yeah.
side of Alex Perez, but it's like Alex Perez would also get bitched by all these other guys. There's just levels to it. So anyway, let's move on to the next fight. Uh, oh, we'll be quick with this one, right? Right, Z? We'll be quick.
Yeah, I just wanna say, so during our video, Joe was
Oh,
chirping in my ear, and I mean, like,
well, my
what
fault.
I said, what I no, this wasn't your fault at all. Overall, I did say I was very on the line for this fight. I did eventually say my pick was Ion Cutelaba. I picked the underdog in this fight, but when I went and I made my tickets, I ended up picking Umar Sy on my tickets. I picked Umar Sy to get it done,
Mhm.
and Cutelaba just straight went out there and fucking bitch Sy.
Yeah,
Wasn't it? It was Sai. Sai initiated the grappling. He initiated the
got a
takedown at
weak ass
first.
takedown.
Yeah, and Kutalaba was just like, "What the fuck?" And just Kutalaba just bitched him, just straight bitch Sai, and
Mm,
Sai had no answers for it. Um, I honestly should have seen this coming. Um, I did see it coming, but I should have fucking preached about it more so that me and Joe would have been on the same page. Umar Sy
yeah,
lost to Alonzo Manifield. And then he goes and he bitches Brendanson Ribeiro, which is who the fuck is Brendanson Ribeiro?
he's the layup of the light heavyweight division.
And Kutalaba's a journeyman. He is a
Yeah,
journeyman. He's been here for a minute. He's made the mistakes of a young prospect, and he's come back and he's beaten other journeymen. So overall, I should have stuck with my gut going into this fight, and like I said at the beginning of the video, you win some, you lose some. So
yeah, yeah. You just gotta trust
yeah,
our gut more, because go off air. Z and I were talking about this too. I was even picking Umar Sy and me saying he's a lock. He was definitely my least confident lock of the bunch because we've seen what Ewan Kudalab is. We know what he's capable of. He has a lot of power. He's not a guy that's going to go away. He's very unrelenting. And Umar Sy's skill set, I think we talked about it in the video, has just been unproven. We don't really know exactly what he's capable of. Yes, he beat a Ribeiro, but Ribeiro is, like I just said, he's like the layup of the light heavyweight division. It's like, if you're not beating Ribeiro, you're not beating anybody.
yeah,
And yeah, Umar Sy beat him. He choked him out, whatever. And it's just not an impressive win. It's impressive for Kudalaba to be the underdog here and get the win over the surging prospect. Surging
yeah.
quotations. I mean, he's now 1-2 in his last three, losing to Benefield and losing to Kudalaba. I don't know what you give Sai next, but I think Kudalaba, he
Don't give
deserves
him
he deserves his
don't give him
flowers.
another journeyman. Don't give Sai another journeyman because and
Yeah.
like Manifield, you could say is like on the line of being like a journeyman in the UFC. I
Mhm.
would I would call him a journeyman. I feel like other people won't call him a journeyman, but I mean, yeah, don't give Sai another dude who has more experience in the UFC. Give Sai somebody who's on another losing streak like Ribeiro, and then give him another prospect. Let him build, because this guy clearly needs to go and figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, win some, you lose some, and this was a
Yeah,
pretty tough loss though for the bets. But moving on to
100%.
to another Harry Hardwick performance. Last time I saw Harry Hardwick in the UFC was against Cowboy Fernandez, and he ended up in a wheelchair, getting wheeled out because he got his legs kicked out, and he couldn't walk. And he basically got the same sort of treatment from Marvin Rahiki. Granted,
Yeah.
this was a fun fight. This was probably fight of the night in my eyes. This was a fucking, even though this felt pretty one sided. I did get a little worried that Harry Hardwick was going to finish Rahiki
Oh
on some of
yeah.
those exchanges. I'm like, dude, like
Well,
Rahiki's striking defense is just pretty subpar.
yeah, you see, I got a little worried that Hardwick would edge this fight out on the scorecards. I didn't think that Hardwick would end up finishing Rahiki, because I mean, we we watched the contender fight. We watched him get dropped at least 5 different times, and he fucking ended up going and finishing the dude himself. Harry Hardwick, though, I will say, very impressed. He has a heart of steel. This
Yeah.
dude this dude goes out there and he gets absolutely fucking fucked up, and he keeps on going. If you guys haven't seen the pictures of Harry Hardwick's jaw, I highly advise you
Dude.
don't go and look at it. It is fucking disgusting. It is disgusting. His jaw right here is literally snapped. It is snapped in half. His fucking his inner teeth right here are going inwards. His jaw, his teeth back here going fucking outwards. It is nasty, dude. And at the end of the fight, or at the end of round two, um, they brought the fight back of Harry Hardwick and fucking Rahiki hugging in the middle of the octagon, and I was just like what the fuck just happened? What the fuck just happened? That was the end of round two, and Hardwick goes, "You broke my fucking jaw," and I was like, "Holy shit!" Because I mean, some of those combinations that Rahiki was putting on Hardwick were just disgusting. Were just nasty.
Yeah.
You know, because like you said, Hardwick looked good in that fight. He was putting some on Rahiki as well. But every time it would flip back over and it was Rahiki's turn, those punches and those combinations looked way more nastier than what Harry Hardwick was throwing. So
Mhm.
yeah, the pick here was Marin Rahiki. I also had him to win this fight by knockout, and he got it done.
Got both of those, yeah.
Yeah,
Fights to make. I think Ryuki needs a vet now. And going into our next fight will be the vet that I think he should fight. Andre Feely. It'd be fun. Another striker's delight, I think. Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, in this fight definitely didn't go the way that we saw whatsoever. Um,
Yeah, I'll be right
maybe,
back.
yeah, I got you. Maybe Delgado isn't as good as some of us may have thought. Or Feely just had a Feely performance because I think that's the more likely thing to see here. Because yeah, Andrew Feely, we haven't seen him fight recently. Last time was a few months ago, but Delgado coming off of that close loss to Nate Wood, had him rocked in the first, and then went to decision, lost the decision, and then he gets Andre Feely, and it goes to a split decision, and from what I was watching, it felt like you probably could have given Andre Feely 1-2 maybe, but yeah, the split, I guess, is whatever. I thought Delgado was gonna get the knockout. That's kind of what I've been predicting for this fight, but, yeah, that clearly wasn't the outcome. Delgado did enough in the judge's eyes to sneak out the decision win over here, but, yeah, it's kind of a tough loss for Felix. I thought Feely probably did enough to get it done in 1 and 2, and I thought he just had to survive the 3rd, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like in this fight, one of the reasons why Delgado couldn't really hunt for that finish is because he wasn't expecting what he got from Andre Philly in this fight.
Mhm.
Because Andre Philly looked sharp, he looked good in this fight, and that was that performance right there is like one of the reasons why I was a fan of Andre Philly. I'm not anymore. Just want to put that out there. Uh, I mean, he's a cool dude, but I mean, I don't really have much to say on this fight. I don't really have much to say. One thing I will say is Andre Philly sold me on a fat fucking ticket in UFC Seattle. I had like 11 fights, and Andre Philly was the only fighter not to win when all the other 10 fighters won. So moving into the next fight,
The ladies.
Amanda Lemos, Jillian Robertson. I didn't really pay much attention to this fight because I mean, it ended up exactly how I expected it to happen. I mean, Amanda Lemos did look very good. She looked very good at the start of the fight, keeping it on the feet for a little bit. But as soon as Jillian Robertson got it on the ground, that was pretty much all she wrote. That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, 9 minutes of control time. I mean, geez, what do you expect?
yeah, and
That was the recipe we talked about. Um, yeah, not much to really say on this fight. It's a good win for Jillian Robertson. It's the way we said she was gonna win, is that if she got the takedowns and was able to hold Lemos down, that she was gonna be able to win. Um, but from the replays, I was seeing a lot of Lemos striking in the replays, and so like I said, I didn't watch this full fight either. I watched the 3rd round, and I watched the obviously the judge's decision, but watching the replays made them kinda suggest that they thought Lemos may have won this fight, and so I was a little confused watching that, but yeah, obviously reading the numbers now, I mean, it kinda looks like it definitely was a Robertson performance, and she did, did enough to get the victory here. Now it's really what's next for these girls. For Jillian Robertson, I think they're already kinda, like, talking about Yan Xiaonan being the next girl for her. And that would be a real test, and I think it'd be a real problem because unlike Amanda Lemos, I think Yan Xiaonan has some good takedown defense, and she has really good striking, and I think that's gonna be a problem for Jillian Robertson because her striking isn't up to the standard I think anyone in the top 5 of strawweight should be. But, yeah, Amanda Lemos on this side, I think she probably fights another prospect. I think she's probably gonna fight, like, Fatima Klein or something, some girl that's, like, right in that top 15. But yeah, we'll see what comes next for these girls. And then, yeah, let's get into the main event. But before we do so, guys, just a reminder if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Really appreciate it. Getting these recaps out to you guys, letting us eat some humble pie because we were wrong on a few of these, but it's okay. We're always going to be moving forward and on to the next. So let's get to the main event though, because we were not wrong about this. This was a masterclass. This was Josh Emmett's retirement fight. I think it should be. I think you don't really book him for anything else, man. I mean, he just turned 41 and he's trying new things. He shaved a beard. He thought he was going to be trying something different. And when you get put out the way you get put out by a young stud like Vallejos, it's kind of like, man, I think it's just time for me to pass the torch. Vallejos is just he's just the next guy up, man. I mean, he's Taporia 2.0 in my eyes. Everything he does is just so crisp, so clean. He's got nice tight boxing, and he did everything right, man. I mean, I was on the side of a decision in this fight because I really was on that whole train of Josh Emmett has the granite chin, but like you were on Z, you were calling a KO for Kevin.
Yeah, I thought maybe he would get the KO in the later round. The fact that he got it
The
so
burst.
fucking early in the first round is insane to me. I mean, we haven't seen Josh Emmett knocked out since he fought Jeremy Stevens. Josh Emmett has fought some of the top contenders
He
in
fought
this
Ilya.
division as well. Yeah, fought Ilya for 5 rounds. Fought Ilya in a 5 rounder. Ilya took him to decision. Josh Emmett fought Leron Murphy. Leron Murphy took him to decision. And he's finally fighting a prospect who fucking puts him out. Kevin
Mhm.
Vallejos. I think Kevin Vallejos is the next one of the next big things for this weight division. Um,
Yeah, I think he's a superstar in the
I
making for sure.
one thing I talked about a while ago when Gene Silva was on his trajectory before he fought Diego Lopez was I see Kevin Vallejos coming back, or I just said, imagine Kevin Vallejos coming back after that and making a fucking run
Mhm.
through the rankings, catches up to Gene Silva, and we get a fucking rematch of a lifetime because that's what it's shaping up to be.
It's getting real
And
close.
and if you haven't seen that contender fight of Kim Valios and Gene Silva, I suggest you go and watch that because that fight went to decision,
Razor close
and
fight.
you see the performances that Vahelios puts out. You see the performances that Gene Silva has put out. You see their finishing ability, and you're telling me that those two dudes went to decision when they fought. I anticipate fireworks if this rematch were to ever fucking happen, which I really hope it does because
Yeah.
like me and Joe were just saying, it is really shaping it up to be because if you look at Vahelios' record, that 18-1, that one is only from Gene Silva.
Yeah.
So that fight is it's brewing. It is
Yeah.
brewing. I think maybe Gene Silva gets one more fight in,
Yeah.
one more fight since he's so close up there to the title.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just fucking boost up Vahelios. They just boost him straight up to Gene Silva,
Yeah.
and then the winner of this next one, Mosvar Murphy. I don't know, just playing a little bit of matchmaking in this. Like you were saying for Josh Emmett though, retire. Honestly, man, like the right overhand punches. It worked once. It worked once with Bryce Mitchell, and then
Yeah.
it's not gonna it's not gonna work again.
Yeah. Yeah, for in my eyes, I think Kevin Vallejos needs to fight a guy who can give him striking problems, and I don't think he has fought anyone like that since Gene. I think Yair Rodriguez would be a fun matchup because he is a tricky type of fighter. He's got
Yeah.
great kicks and he's got fast hands.
See,
He also has a bit of a submission game.
See, I will say one thing about Yair is Yair at one point was one of the fighters that I had my eyes on. But then after recently, I don't know how I feel about him.
He's been inactive.
Apparently he's been very inactive. I heard that he dodged Diego Lopez, that he had gotten offered to fight Diego Lopez, and he pretty much said no after all that shit talk that they had at that one press conference.
Yeah.
So if Kevin Vallejos gets Yair's getting put to sleep easily, and
Yeah.
it's probably gonna be like in a main event again. It's probably
Yeah,
gonna
for
be a main
sure.
event, or maybe even like on the main card of a pay-per-view. That is one thing I see 100% is Kevin Vallejos' next fight either gonna be another main event or it's gonna be on a fucking main card at a pay-per-view because you can't you can't keep this kid quiet for long.
Mm-mm. Yeah, no, like I said, he's a superstar in the making. He's definitely one of the featherweights to watch. I think if you want to get on some future bets, you probably get on Kevin Vallejos to win the featherweight title. Uh, but I'll probably wait till 2027. I think 2026 is just gonna be him climbing the rankings. I think he's probably 2 or 3 good fights away from a title shot. Because featherweight, the top 5 is really kind of like it's a big mix of guys that
Yeah,
all deserve shots. So, yeah, I mean, he can get his name in the hat for sure by the end of the year, but I think once 2027 rolls around, we're gonna be seeing him in the big picture. But
for sure.
yeah, that's it for our recap, guys. We appreciate you guys for watching if you did. Like I said, go ahead and like, comment, share, do whatever you gotta do to show your support. We appreciate it as always. Later this week, though, we're going to be going over UFC London, going over our full card predictions, and then getting on with the regular schedule. So keep an eye out for that going forward. Anyway, we'll see you guys in the next one. Stay cozy. Peace.